Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 26. Cold out here this morning, Anza. Really cloudy today too. This morning, I was in 1 Chronicles chapters 9 through 12. 1 Chronicles 9 through 12. And the verse I wanted to share on was chapter 9, verse 27. 1 Chronicles 9:27. And they lodged around the house of God, for on them lay the duty of watching, and they had charge of opening it every morning. It's talking about here in Chronicles how they were separating the groups of priests into different jobs and stuff, different responsibilities. And so there was a group of men, and it says they lodged around the house of God. They lived around the tabernacle. They pitched their tents around the tabernacle, and on them lay the duty of watching, protecting the tabernacle, making sure that nobody got in when they weren't supposed to get in, closing the doors at night. And then it says, and they had charge of opening the doors every morning. So it was their job to protect the tabernacle, make sure people couldn't get in when they weren't supposed to get in, make sure that the people who were unclean couldn't come in, make sure the Gentiles couldn't get in, and they would open the doors in the morning, every single morning, and close them at night. It was their job, their responsibility to oversee, who came and went, and when they came and went. As I read this, it just really made me think about how blessed we are. We're children of the new covenant. Jesus came, and he changed all that. He came and he gave his life, and he died on the cross. And when he was on the cross when he died, it says that the curtain in the temple was torn from top to bottom. It was a curtain. It was about 3 feet thick. I forget how high, but very high. And it ripped. And it was a picture that there's no separation any longer. In the Jewish temple, the Gentiles couldn't go in. The Gentiles couldn't offer sacrifices for their sins without becoming Jewish first. They could be converted to Judaism and be circumcised, and then they could practice that. But in the New Testament, Jesus changed all that. There's no curtain between us and God. There's no temple that we go to that we can be locked out of, where God hangs out and we don't spend time with him because the doors aren't open. Let's never forget, those of us that trust Jesus as our Savior, we are the church. That building that you might go to on Sunday mornings or throughout the week, that is just a building where the church meets. We call it a church, but it's not really a church. We're the church. We're the temple of the living God. The door is never open to the kingdom. It's never closed to the kingdom. It's always open. And it's interesting, in the book of Revelation, in the 3rd chapter, Jesus says, behold, he says to the church, to his own people, behold, I stand at the door and knock. And if anyone opens up, I'll come into him and fellowship with him and dine with him. Jesus is saying, some of my people have locked me out. And then right after that, John, in the beginning of John, chapter 4, John says, I look up, and there was a door open unto heaven. Jesus was saying, your door, sometimes God's people close the door to their heart, and Jesus wants in. But his door is never closed. His door is always open. Paul said to go before the throne of God, spiritually speaking, to come to him at any time, unashamed, knowing we're forgiven. He says, come boldly, to walk up boldly and go, Jesus, I'm here. I want to fellowship with you. I want to talk to you. I want to meet with you. I want to have conversation with you. That's what prayer is, just conversation with God. It's fellowshipping with God. It's no longer like in the Old Testament where you can be locked out because you're unclean. You can be locked out because you did something that you weren't supposed to do, and you got to go through some sort of ceremony so they'll let you back in. There's never a time at night when the doors close to heaven. God's never sleeping. I can get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and fellowship with him. He's always there. He loves us. We are the temple. And there's something else I just wanted to point out. We are the temple. Our doors should never be closed. To those who aren't clean, to those who maybe live different than us, to those who are caught in sin, because we're all sinners. But we are the temple of the living God now. We need to be open. We need to be loving. We need to be kind. We need to shine with the love of Jesus. We need to be welcoming. Anyone who's thirsty, come and drink. Anyone who is hungry, come and taste and see that the Lord is good. We are the temple of the living God now, and our doors should never be like the old temple. It was closed up in certain hours and to certain people. Our lives need to be open with the love of Jesus to anyone who will come to see how good the Lord is. That's my prayer for us today. Thanks for listening to me today.